You know that feeling when you finally get your paycheck, and for about 5 minutes, you feel financially stable. Then, boom, Faye rent hits. The car needs new tires, your phone bill comes through, and suddenly, you are back to watching your account balance like a hawk. You are making decent money, maybe even got that raise you worked so hard for. But somehow you never actually feel rich. You never feel like you are winning. And here is the brutal truth. Faye, it is not because you are not making enough money. I am James, and I've spent years obsessing over why smart, hardworking people stay stuck in this cycle while others seem to glide through life with financial ease. I've researched countless financial systems, interviewed people from all income levels, and discovered patterns that most financial advisors won't tell you about. I share practical, no-nonsense strategies that actually work for regular people dealing with real financial pressure. If you are tired of feeling broke despite working your tail off, you are in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button because what I am about to share could completely change how you think about money. Let me introduce you to something I call the wealth perception gap. This is the distance between what you earn and what you feel you have. And here is the kicker, Faye. This gap doesn't shrink when you make more money. It actually grows. The wealth perception gap explains why someone making $40,000 a year feels just as broke as someone making $120,000. It is why lottery winners go bankrupt and why high-earning professionals live paycheck to paycheck. This concept matters because once you understand it, you can finally stop chasing more income and start building actual wealth. The gap exists because of 3 invisible forces working against you. First, lifestyle inflation moves in lockstep with your income. Second, comparison culture constantly resets your definition of enough. Third, the financial system is literally designed to expand your expenses as your income grows. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in real life. Take Sarah, a marketing manager who went from making $55,000 to $90,000 over 5 years. Sounds like a success story, right? But when I asked her if she felt richer, she laughed and said she felt more stressed about money than ever. Here is what happened. At $55,000, she had a studio apartment for $1,200 a month, drove a paid-off Honda. And her biggest splurge was weekend brunch. When she hit $70,000, she moved to a nicer one-bedroom for $1,800 because she deserved it after working so hard. At $85,000, she leased a new car because her old one felt embarrassing in the company parking lot. At $90,000, she upgraded to a 2-bedroom in a trendier neighborhood for $2,500 because all her colleagues lived in similar places. Her income increased by $35,000, but her major expenses increased by almost $30,000. The wealth perception gap didn't shrink, it exploded. Now compare that to Marcus, who took a completely different approach. He started at $50,000 and now makes $85,000. But Marcus made a decision early on. He picked a lifestyle he genuinely enjoyed at his $50,000 income level and refused to inflate it. He stayed in his $1,500 apartment even though he could afford more. He kept driving his reliable car when his income jumped. Instead of upgrading his life, he automated the difference straight into investments. That extra $35,000 a year. It is now building compound interest. After 7 years, Marcus has over $200,000 in assets. Sarah has a nicer apartment she barely spends time in and a car payment that stresses her out. Who actually feels richer? Here is another example that'll blow your mind. Look at banking fees. When you are struggling financially, banks hit you with overdraft fees. $35 because you were short by $12. It is brutal. But here is what most people don't realize, Faye, as you move up the income ladder. The financial system doesn't stop extracting money from you. It just gets more sophisticated about it. That premium checking account that requires a $5,000 minimum balance? It pays you 0.01% interest while the bank loans that money out at 7%. That is a 7% extraction on your $5,000, costing you $350 in OP, or opportunity cost every single year. You are not getting hit with overdraft fees anymore, so you feel like you've escaped, but you are actually losing more money. The system just made it invisible. Or consider this. A couple making $60,000 a year buys a modest house for $250,000 with a 30-year mortgage. Their payment is about $1,500 a month. They'll pay roughly $290,000 in interest over the life of that loan. Now take a couple making $150,000. They buy a house for $600,000 because that is what people at their income level do. Same 30-year mortgage. They'll pay about $690,000 in interest. The wealthier couple just signed up to pay $400,000 more in interest. Both couples feel equally stretched by their mortgage payment because it is roughly 30% of their income. The wealth perception gap strikes again. I know what you are thinking. You are probably saying, James, this is depressing. Are you telling me there is no point in trying to earn more? Not at all. I am telling you that earning more is only half the equation, and it is actually the less important half. The real game changer is learning to widen the gap between what you earn and what you spend, then putting that difference to work for you immediately, before lifestyle inflation can grab it. Or maybe you are thinking, but I work hard. Don't I deserve to enjoy my money? Absolutely you do. But here's the question nobody asks, Faye, does a more expensive apartment actually make you happier? Research shows that once you hit a baseline of comfort and safety, additional spending on lifestyle inflation produces almost zero additional happiness. That dopamine hit from the upgrade fades in about 3 months. Then it is just your new normal, and you are looking at the next upgrade. You are on a hedonic treadmill running faster but never actually getting anywhere. Some of you are probably thinking, I can barely cover my basics right now. This advice doesn't apply to me. I hear you. But here is the thing. Faye, the wealth perception gap affects everyone, and the principles for escaping it are the same regardless of your income. If you are genuinely struggling to cover necessities, the path forward is about strategic income increases combined with aggressive expense auditing. But for most people reading this, and I say this with love, you have more room to maneuver than you think. You've just normalized expenses that aren't actually necessary. So what do you actually do about this? How do you escape the wealth perception gap and start feeling wealthy regardless of your income? Here are 5 concrete steps you can implement starting today. Step 1. Calculate your personal gap. Pull up your bank statements right now. Add up everything you earned last month. Then subtract everything you spent. That number, whether it is positive or negative, is your current gap. If it is negative, you are going backwards. If it is 0, you are treading water. If it is positive, that is your wealth building power. Most people have never actually calculated this number. They just have a vague sense of stress. Make it concrete. Step 2. Freeze your lifestyle for the next 12 months. I mean, completely freeze it. Whatever you are spending on rent, transportation, food, and entertainment right now, commit to not increasing it for 1 full year. No upgrades, no lifestyle inflation. When you get a raise, a bonus, or a tax refund, act like it doesn't exist for spending purposes. This one decision will change everything because it breaks the automatic connection between earning more and spending more. Step 3. Automate your gap. The day after you get paid, automatically move money out of your checking account. If your gap is currently $200 a month, automate that. If it is negative, start with $50 and cut something to make room. The money should go somewhere you don't see it every day. A high-yield savings account, an index fund, a retirement account. The specific vehicle matters less than the automation. You cannot manually save money every month. Your brain will find reasons to spend it. Automation removes willpower from the equation. Step 4. Increase your gap, not your lifestyle. Every time your income increases, split the increase, take half and add it to your automated savings. You can use the other half for lifestyle improvements if you want. But here's what'll happen, Faye, once you see your gap growing, once you watch your net worth climbing, you'll start getting more satisfaction from that than from spending. Watching your investment account hit $10,000, then $20,000, then $50,000 becomes more addictive than a nicer car. I promise you this. Step 5. Redefine what rich feels like. This is the psychological shift that makes everything stick. Stop defining wealth by what you spend and start defining it by what you own. Rich isn't a luxury apartment. Rich is having 6 months of expenses in the bank and not panicking when your car breaks down. Rich is knowing you could walk away from a toxic job because you have options. Rich is watching your net worth grow every single month regardless of what is happening in your career. That feeling of security, of having options, of not being controlled by money, that is what actually feels rich. Here's what nobody tells you about personal finance. The goal isn't to have more money. The goal is to feel less controlled by money. And that feeling doesn't come from earning more. It comes from widening the gap between what you earn and what you need. It comes from building a buffer between you and disaster. It comes from having assets that work for you instead of debts that work against you. I've seen this transformation happen hundreds of times. People who felt broke at 70,000 start feeling wealthy at 75,000, not because they got a huge raise, but because they finally stopped the bleed. They closed the wealth perception gap. They started keeping more of what they earned, and suddenly, for the first time in years, they felt like they were winning. You'll never feel rich if you keep playing the game the way the system wants you to play it. The system wants you to earn more so you can spend more, so you can stress more, so you can work more. It is a cycle designed to keep you running, but you can step off the treadmill anytime you want. You just have to understand that the path to feeling wealthy isn't through your next raise or your next promotion. It is through the gap. Widen the gap, protect the gap, and invest the gap. Do that consistently, and I guarantee you'll feel richer 6 months from now than you do today, regardless of whether your income changes. If this resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button so more people can break free from this cycle. Subscribe, because I am going to keep sharing strategies that actually work for real people dealing with real financial pressure. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who is stuck on that treadmill wondering why they never feel like they're getting ahead. The truth is, you can get ahead. You just have to stop running in the direction everyone else is running and start building your gap. That is where freedom lives. That is where wealth lives. And it is available to you right now. Today, regardless of what your bank account says, you've got this.